On Greenhow Hill by Rudyard Kipling. To love's low voice, she lent a careless ear. Her hand within his rosy fingers lay a chilling weight she would not turn or hear, but with averted face went on her way. But when pale death, all featureless and grim, lifted his bony hand, and beckoning held out his cypress wreath, she followed him, and love was left forlorn, and wondering that she who for his bidding would not stay at death's first whisper rose, and went away rivals. O Ahmed din Shafiz, Allah Ahubahadur Khan, where are you come out of the tents, as I have done, and fight against the English? Don't kill your own kin, come out to me. The deserter from a native corps was crawling round the outskirts of the camp, firing at intervals and shouting invitations to his old comrades. Misled by the rain and the darkness, he came to the English wing of the camp, and with his yelping and rifle practice disturbed the men. They had been making roads all day and were tired. Orthoris was sleeping at Leroyd's feet. Watts, all that he said thickly. Leroyd snored, and a Snider bullet ripped its way through the tent wall. The men swore it's that bloomin' deserter from the Aurungabadis. Said Orthoris, get up someone and tell IM's come to the wrong shop. Go to sleep, little man, said Mulvaney, who was steaming nearest the door. I can't arise and expatiate with him. Tease rainin' and trenchin' tools outside. Tain't because you bloomin' can't, it's cause you bloomin' want ye long limp, lousy lazy beggar you ark to owlin'. What's the good of argifying? Put a bullet into the swine, ease keepin' us awake, said another voice. A subaltern shouted angrily, and a dripping sentry whined from the darkness. Tain't no good, sir, I can't see Roman 999, ease hidden somewhere down Roman 99. Orthoris tumbled out of his blanket. Shall I try to get sir, said he. No, was the answer. Lie down, I want have the whole camp shooting all round the clock. Tell him to go and pot his friends. Orthoris considered for a moment, then putting his head under the tent wall, he called, as a bus conductor calls in a block, "Ig her up there. Ig her up." The men laughed, and the laughter was carried downwind to the deserter, who, hearing that he had made a mistake, went off to worry his own regiment half a mile away. He was received with shots. The Aurungabadis were very angry with him for disgracing their colors. And that's all right, said Orthoris, withdrawing his head, as he heard the hiccup of the Sniders in the distance. S'help me God, though, that man's not fit to live in with my beauty sleep this way. Go out and shoot him in the morning, then, said the subaltern in cautiously silence in the tents. Now get your rest, men. Orthoris lay down with a happy little sigh, and in 2 minutes there was no sound except the rain on the canvas and the alembracing and elemental snoring of Leroyd. The camp lay on a bare ridge of the Himalayas, and for a week had been waiting for a flying column to make connection. The nightly rounds of the deserter and his friends had become a nuisance. In the morning, the men dried themselves in hot sunshine and cleaned their grimy accoutrements. The native regiment was to take its turn of road-making that day, while the old regiment loafed. I am going to lay for a shot at that man, said Orthoris, when he had finished washing out his rifle. Comes up the watercourse every evening about 5 o'clock. If we go and lie out on the North Ill a bit this afternoon, we'll get Roman 999. You're a bloodthirsty little mosquito, said Mulvaney, blowing blue clouds into the air. But I suppose I will have to come wid you, Peware's jock. Gone out with the mixed pickles cause thinks herself a bloomin' marksman, said Orthoris, with scorn. The mixed pickles were a detachment of picked shots, generally employed in clearing spurs of hills when the enemy were too impertinent. This taught the young officers how to handle men, and did not do the enemy much harm. Mulvaney and Orthoris strolled out of camp, and past the Aurungabadis going to their road-making. You've got to sweat today, said Orthoris, genially. We're going to get your man. You didn't knock out last night, by any chance, any of you? No, the pig went away mocking us. I had one shot at him, said a private. He's my cousin, and I ought to have cleared our dishonor. But good luck to you. They went cautiously to the North Hill, Orthoris leading, because, as he explained, this is a long-range show and I've got to do it. His was an almost passionate devotion to his rifle, which by barrackroom report he was supposed to kiss every night, before turning in charges and scuffles he held in contempt, and when they were inevitable slipped between Mulvaney and Leroyd, bidding them to fight for his skin as well as their own. They never failed him. He trotted along questing like a hound on a broken trail through the wood of the North Hill. At last he was satisfied, and threw himself down on the soft pine-needle slope that commanded a clear view of the watercourse and a brown bare hillside. Beyond it, the trees made a scented darkness in which an army corps could have hidden from the sunglare without. "Here's the tale, oh the wood," said Ortheris, "ease got to come up the watercourse cause it gives cover well lay, air taint not off so bloomin' dusty neither." He buried his nose in a clump of scentless white violets. No one had come to tell the flowers that the season of their strength was long past, and they had bloomed merrily in the twilight of the pines. "This is something like," he said luxuriously, "what a evenly clear drop, for a bullet across. How much do you make it, Mulvaney?" 700 maybe, a trifle less because the air's so thin. Whop, 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 went a volley of musketry on the rear face of the North Hill. "Curse them mixed pickles fearin' at nothin' they'll scare off the country." "Thry a sightin' shot in the middle of the row," said Mulvaney, the man of many wiles. "There's a red rock yonder, hell be sure to pass." "Gwig." Ortheris ran his sight up to 600 yards, and fired the bullet threw up a feather of dust by a clump of gentians at the base of the rock. "Good enough," said Ortheris, snapping the scale down. "You snick your sights to mine, or a little lower. You're always fearin' high, but remember first shot to me, oh lordy, but it's a lovely afternoon." The noise of the firing grew louder, and there was a tramping of men in the wood. The two lay very quiet, for they knew that the British soldier is desperately prone to fire at anything that moves or calls. Then Leroyd appeared, his tunic ripped across the breast by a bullet. Looking ashamed of himself, he flung down on the pine needles, breathing in snorts. "One o' them damned gardeners o' Th Pickles," said he, fingering the rent fearin' to Th right flank, "when he knowed I was there. If I knew who he was, I'd a rippin' the hide offen him. Look at ma tunic. That's the special trustability av a marksman. Train him to hit a fly wid a stiddy rest at 700, and he loose on anythin' he sees or hears up to Th mile. You're well out av that fancifierin' gang jock. Stay here." "Been fearin' at the bloomin' wind in the bloomin' treetops," said Ortheris with a chuckle. "I'll show you some fearin' later on." They wallowed in the pine needles, and the sun warmed them where they lay. The mixed pickles ceased firing and returned to camp, and left the wood to a few scared apes. The watercourse lifted up its voice in the silence, and talked foolishly to the rocks. Now and again, the dull thump of a blasting charge 3 miles away told that the Aurungabadis were in difficulties with their road-making. The men smiled as they listened, and lay still soaking in the warm leisure. Presently Leroyd, between the whiffs of his pipe, "Seems queer about yonder desertin' at all." "I'll be a bloomin' side queerer when I've done with said Ortheris. They were talking in whispers, for the stillness of the wood and the desire of slaughter lay heavy upon them. "I make no doubt he had his reasons for desertin', but my faith, I make less doubt every man has good reason for killin' him," said Mulvaney. "Happen there was a lass tood up wi't men do more than more for Th sake of a lass. They make most av us list, they've no manner av right to make us desert." They make us list, or their fathers do," said Leroyd softly, his helmet over his eyes. Ortheris' brows contracted savagely. He was watching the valley. "If it's a girl, I'll shoot the beggar twice over, and second time for bane. A fool, you're a blasted sentimental all of a sudden thinkin' o' your last near shave." "Nay lad, was, but thinkin' o' what had happened." "And what has happened, ye lumberin' child av calamity, that you're lowing like a cowcuff at the back av the pasture, and suggestin' invidious excuses for the man Stanley's goin' to kill yell have to wait another hour. Yet little man, spit it out, jock, and bellow melodious to the moon. It takes an earthquake or a bullet graze to fetch aught out av you." Discourse Don Juan, the amours av Letharius Learard Stanley, cape a rollin' regmental eye on the valley. "It's along o' yon hill there," said Leroyd, watching the bare sub-Himalayan spur that reminded him of his Yorkshire moors. he was speaking more to himself than his fellows. I said he rumbleds more stands up o'er Skipton town, and Greenhow Hill stands up o'er Patley Brig. I reckon you've never heard tell o' Greenhow Hill, but yon bit o' bare stuff, if there was nobbut a white road windin', is like strangely like moors, and moors, and moors. Why never a tree for shelter, and grey houses, why flagstone roofs and peewits cryin', and a windhover goin' to and fro just like these kites, and cold a wind that cuts you like a knife. You could tell Greenhow Hill folk by the redapple colour o' their cheeks and nose tips, and their blue eyes driven into pinpoints by the wind. Miners mostly burrowin' for lead ith hillsides, followin' the trail of th or veins same as a field rat. It was the roughest minnin' I ever seen. Yard come on a bit o' creakin' wood windlass like a wellhead, and you was let down ith bite of a rope fendin' yoursen off the side, why one hand carryin' a candle stuck in a lump o' clay, with t'other and clickin' hold of a rope with t'other hand. And that's 3 of them, said Mulvaney. Must be a good climate in those parts. Leroyd took no heed. And then yo came to a level where you crept on your hands and knees through a mile o' wind and drift, and you come out into a cave place as big as Leeds Town Hall, with a engine pumpin' water from workins it went deeper still. It's a queer country, let alone minnin' for the hill is full of those natural caves, and the rivers and the becks drops into what they call potholes and come out again miles away. What was you doin' there, said Orthoris. I was a young chap then, and mostly went why asses leadin' coal and lead ore, but at th time I'm tellin' on I was driven the wagon team ith big sumph. I didn't belong to that countryside by rights. I went there because of a little difference at home, and at fust I took up why a rough lot one night we'd been drinkin', and I must ha-he-dee more than I could stand or happen th ale was none so good though I them days, by for God, I never seed bad ale. He flung his arms over his head and gripped a vast handful of white violets. Now said he, I never seed the ale, I could not drink the bacca, I could not smoke, nor the lass I could not kiss. Well, we mun have a race home the lot on us. I lost all th others, and when I was climbin' o'er one of them walls built o' loose stones, I comes down into the ditch stones, and all and broke my arm, not as I gnawed much about it, for I fell on th back of my head, and was knocked stupid like. And when I come to mysen, it were mornin', and I were lyin' on the settle I Jessie Ronetree's house place, and Lisa Ronetree was set suing. I ached all o'er, and my mouth were like a lime kiln. She gave me a drink out of a china mug, why gold letters, a present from Leeds's. I looked at many and many a time at after you're to lie still, while Dr. Warbottom comes, because your arm's broken, and father has sent a lad to fetch him. He found yo when he was goin' to work and carried you here on his back, says she. Oa, says I, and I shet my eyes, for I felt ashamed. O myson, father's gone to his work these 3 hours, and he said he'd tell em to get somebody to drive the tram. The clock ticked, and a bee comed in the house, and they rung I my head like mill wheels, and she give me another drink and settled the pillow. But you're young to be gettin' drunk and such like, but yo won't do it again, will yo? Noah, says I wouldn't if shed not, but stop they mill wheels clatterin'. Faith, it's a good thing to be nursed by a woman when you're sick, said Mulvaney. Dyer cheap, at the price av 20 broken heads. Orthoris turned to frown across the valley. He had not been nursed by many women in his life. And then Dr. Warbottom comes riding up, and Jessie Ronetree, along with Roman 999. He was a high-learned doctor, but he talked why poor folk, same as Thersons, what's ta bin agat on na. He sings out breckin tha thick head, and he felt me all over. That's none broken tha, na, but knocked a bit sillier than ordinary, and that's daft enif, and so he went on callin' me all the names he could think on, but set my arm. Why, Jess's help as careful as could be. Yo mun, let the big oaf bide here a bit, Jessie, he says, when he strapped me up, and given me a dose o' physic, and you and Lisa will tend him, though he's scarcelins worth the trouble, and thall lose tha work, says he, and thall be upon th sick club for a couple o' months, and more. Doesn't tha think tha's a fool? But Win was a young man, high or low the other, av a fool id like to know, said Mulvaney. Sure, folly's the only safe way to wisdom, for I've tried it. Wisdom, grinned Orthoris, scanning his comrades with uplifted chin. You're a bloomin' Solomons, you too, ain't you? Leroyd went calmly on, with a steady eye like an ox chewing the cud. And that was how I come to know Lisa Ronetree. There's some tunes, as she used to sing o', she were always singin' that fetches Greenhow Hill before my eyes, as fair as yon brow across there. And she would learn me to sing bass, and I was to go to th Chapel YM, where Jessie, and she led the singin' th old man playin' the fiddle. he was a strange chap, old Jesse Fair. Mad why music, and he made me promise to learn the big fiddle when my arm was better it belonged to him, and it stood up in a big case alongside OTH 8-day clock, but Willie Satterthwaite as played it in the chapel had getten deaf as a doorpost, and it vexed Jesse as he had to rap him o'er his head, why th fiddlestick, to make him give o'er sowin at th right time. But there was a black drop in it all, and it was a man in a black coat that brought it when th primitive Methodist preacher came to Greenhow. He would always stop why Jesse Rowntree, and he laid hold of me from th beginning. It seemed I were a soul to be saved, and he meaned to do it at th same time I jealoused it he were keen o' savin' Lisa Rowntree's soul as well, and I could ha' killed him many a time, and this went on till one day I broke out and borrowed th brass for a drink from Lisa after four days. I come back why my tail between my legs just to see Lisa again, but Jesse were at home and th preacheth Reverend Amos Barraclough. Lisa said naught, but a bit o' red come into her face, as were white of a regular thing. Says Jesse tryin' his best to be civil, nay lad, it's like this you've getten to choose which way it's goin' to be. Ill ha nobody across ma doorstep as goes a drinkin' and borrows my last money to spend I their drink hard thaw tongue. Lisa, says he, when she wanted to put in a word that I were welcome to th brass, and she were none afraid that I wouldn't pay it back. Then the Reverend cuts in seein' as Jesse were lossin' his temper, and they fair beat me among them. But it were Lisa as looked and said naught, as did more than either o' their tongues, and so I concluded to get converted. What shouted Mulvaney, then checking himself, he said softly, let be sure the blessed Virgin is the mother of all religion and most women, and there's a dale av piety in a girl. If the men would only let ut stay there, id ha been converted myself under the circumstances. Nay, but pursued Leroyd with a blush, I meaned it. Orthoris laughed as loudly as he dared, having regard to his business at the time. I, Orthoris, you may laugh, but you didn't know yon preacher Barraclough, little white-faced chap, why a voice as ud while a bird off in a bush, and a way o' layin' hold of folks, as made them think they'd never had a live man for a friend before you never saw him anew. Never seed Lisa Rowntree, never seed Lisa Rowntree. Happen it was as much Lisa as th preacher and her father, but anyways they all meaned it, and I was fair shamed o' myson, and so I become what they call a changed character, and when I think on it's hard to believe as yon chap going to prayer meetings, chapel and class meetings were me, but I never had naught to say for myson, though there was a deal o' shoutin', and old Sammy Struther, as were almost clemmed to death, and doubled up with the rheumatics, would sing out joyful, joyful, and at it were better to go up to heaven in a coal basket than down to hell I a coach and six, and he would put his poor old claw on my shoulder sayin', doesn't tha feel it, tha great lump, doesn't tha feel it? And sometimes I thought I did, and then again I thought I didn't, and how was that? The everlasting nature av mankind, said Mulvaney, and furthermore I misdoubt you were built for the primitive Methodians. There a new core anyways I hold by the oud church, for she's the mother of them alay, and the father too. I like her becase she's most remarkable. Regimental in her fittings, I may die in Honolulu, Nova Zambra, or Cape Cayenne, but wherever I die me bane, what I am and a priest handy, I go under the same orders and the same words and the same unction, as though the Pope himself come down from the roof, av St. Peter's, to see me off theirs. Neither high nor low, nor broad nor deep, nor betwixt, nor between wid her, and that's what I like. But mark you, she's no manner av church for a wake man, because she takes the body and the soul av him onless. He has his proper work to do. I remember when my father died, that was 3 months common to his grave, begad he ha sold the shebeen above our heads for 10 minutes quittance of purgatory, and he did all he could. That's why I say takes a strong man to deal with the oud church, and for that reason y'all find so many women go there, and that same's a conundrum. What's the use o' worritin' bout these things, said Orthoris, you're a bound to find all out quicker nor you want to anyhow. He jerked the cartridge out of the breech block into the palm of his hand. Airs my chaplain, he said, and made the venomous black-headed bullet bow like a marionette. Ease goin' to teach a man all about which is which and what's true after all before sundown, but what append after that, jock? There was one thing they boggled at, and almost shut gate I my face for, and that were my dog blast only one saved out a litter o pups, as was blowed up, when a keg o minin powder loosed off in storekeeper's hut. They liked his name no better than his business, which were fightin' every dog. He comed across a rare good dog, why spots o black, and pink on his face, one ear gone, and lame o one side, why being driven in a basket through an iron roof, a matter of half a mile. They said I mun give him up cause he were worldly and low, and would I let myson be shut out of heaven for the sake on a dog? Nay, says I, if door isn't wide enough for pair on us, well stop outside, for well none be parted. And preachers spoke up for blast, as had a lickin' for him from first I reckon, that was why I come to like preacher and wouldn't hear o changin his name to bless, as some o them wanted, so pair on us became reglar chapel members. But it's hard for a young chap o my build to cut traces from the world flesh, and the devil all uv. A heap yet I stuck to it for a long time, while lads as used to stand about town and lean o'er bridge spittin' into beck. O a Sunday would call after me sitha Leroyd, when's ta been to preach cause were common to hear tha hard tha, jaw he hasn't gettin' white choker on. Ta morn another lad would say, and I had to double my fists hard bottom of my Sunday coat, and say to myson if tweer Monday, and I warn't a member o the primitive Methodists leather all lot of yond, that was hardest of all to know that I could fight, and I mustn't fight. Sympathetic grunts from Mulvaney. So what why singin' practicin' and classmeetins and big fiddle, as he made me take between my knees. I spent a deal o time I Jesse Rowntrie's house place, but often as I was there preacher fared to me to go oftener, and both old man and young woman were pleased to have him. He lived I Patley Brig, as were a goodish step off, but he come all the same. I liked him as well or better as any man I'd ever seen I one way, and yet I hated him why all my heart I t'other, and we watched each other like cat and mouse, but civil as you please, for I was on my best behavior, and he was that fair and open that I was bound to be fair with him. Rare good company he was if I hadn't wanted to wring his cliver little neck half of the time. Often and often when he was goin' from Jess's, set him a bit on the road. See you mean, said Orthoris. It's a way we have Yorkshire o seein' friends off you as a friend, as I didn't want to come back, and he didn't want me to come back neither, and so we'd walk together toward Patley, and then he'd set me back again, and there we'd be while 2 o'clock i the mornin' settin' each other to and fro like a blasted pair o pendulums twixt hill and valley long after light had gone out I Lisa's window, as both on us had been looking at pretending to watch the moon. Broke in Mulvaney wide, no chanced against the Maradin Somsinger Thale, take the airs and the graces instead, av the man 9 times out av 10, and they only find the blunder latterth women. That's just where you're wrong, said Leroyd, reddening under the freckled tan of his cheeks. I was first, why Lisa and Yard think that were enough, but Parson were a stedigated sort o chap, and Jesse were strong o his side, and all women either. Congregation dinned it to Lisa at she were fair fond to take up why a wastrel neardo like me, as was scarcelins respectable and a fighting dog at his heels. It was all very well for her to be doing me good and saving my soul, but she must mind as she didn't do herself harm. They talk o rich folk bane, stuck up and genteel, but for Castian pride o respectability, there's not like poor chapel folk. It's as cold as wind o Greenhow Hill and colder, for 'twill never change. And now I come to think on it, one at strangest things I know is that they couldn't abide thought o soldiering. There's a vast o fightin' Bible, and there's a deal of Methodists army, but to hear chapel folk talk yard, think that solderin' were next door and t'other side to hangin'. Their meetin's all their talk is o fightin'. When Sammy Struther was stuck for summat to say in his prayers he'd sing out sword o Lord, and o Gideon, they were a lose at it, about puttin' on whole armor o righteousness and fightin' the good fight o faith. And then atop all they held a prayer meetin' o'er a young chap as wanted to list, and nearly deafened him till he picked up his hat and fair ran away. And they'd tell tales in Sunday school o bad lads, as had been thumped and brayed for birdnesting o Sundays and playin' truant o weekdays, and how they took to wrestlin', dogfightin', rabbit-runnin', and drinkin', till at last, as if twere a hepitaph on a gravestone, they damned him across moors, and then he went, enlisted for a soldier, and they'd all fetch a deep breath, and throw up their eyes like a hen drinking. Fy is ut, said Mulvaney, bringing down his hand on his thigh, with a crack in the name, of God. Fy is ut, I've seen ut too, they cheat, and they swindle, and they lie, and they slander, and 50 things 50 times worse. But the last and the worst, by their reckoning, is to serve the witty honest. It's like the talk, av childerseeing things all round. Plucky lot of fightin' good fights of what's-her-name, they do, if we didn't see, they had a quiet place to fight in. And such fightin' as theirs is cats on the tiles, t'other callin' to which to come on id. Give a month's pay to get some o' them broad-backed beggars in London sweatin' through a day's road makin, and a night's rain, they'd carry on a deal afterward same, as was supposed to carry on. I've been turned out of a measly arf-licence pub down Lambeth, way full o' greasy kebmen, for now, said Orthoris, with an oath. Maybe you were da trunk, said Mulvaney soothingly. Worse nor that the Forders were drunk, I was wearing the Queen's uniform. I'd no particular thought to be a soldier I them days, said Leroy, still keeping his eye on the bare hill opposite, but this sort o' talk put it I my head. They was so good chapel folk, that they tumbled o'er t'other side, but I stuck to it for Lisa's sake specially, as she was learning me to sing the bass part in a oratorio as Jessie were gettin' up. She sung like a throstle herson, and we had practicin's night after night for a matter of 3 months. I know what a oratorio is, said Orthoris pertly. It's a sort of chaplain's sing-song words, all out of the Bible and hullabalooja choruses. Most Greenhow Hill folks played some instrument or t'other, and they all sung, so you might have heard them miles away. And they were so pleased why the noise they made, they didn't fare to want anybody to listen. The preacher sung high seconds, when he wasn't playin' the flute, and they set me, as hadn't got far, with big fiddle again. Willie Satterthwaite, too. Jog his elbow when he had to get a gate playin'. Old Jesse was happy if ever a man was, for he were conductor, and first fiddle, and leadin' singer beatin' time why his fiddlestick, till at times he'd rap with it on the table, and cry out, now you mun all stop, it's my turn, and he'd face round to his front fair sweating why, pride to sing tenor solos. But he were grandest choruses, waggin' his head, flinging his arms round like a windmill, and singin' hisself black in the face. A rare singer were Jessie. Yo see, I was not o' much account, all exceptin' to Lisa Rowntree, and I had a deal o' time settin' quiet at meetings and oratorio practices to hearken their talk, and if it was strange to me at beginnin', it got stranger still at after, when I was shut on it, and could study what it meaned. Just after oratorios come off, Lisa, as had a lose been weekly like, was took very bad. I walked Dr. Warbottom's horse up and down a deal of times, while he were inside, where they wouldn't let me go, though I fair ached to see her. Shall be better, I knew, lad, but I knew, he used to say. Tha mun ha patience. Then they said if I was quiet I might go in, and Reverend Amos Barraclough used to read to her lion propped up among pillows. Then she began to mend a bit, and they let me carry her on to settle, and when it got warm again she went about same as afore. Preacher and me and Blast was a deal together I them days, and I one way we was rare good comrades, but I could ha stretched him time and again with a good will. I mind one day he said he would like to go down into bowels o earth, and see how Lord had builded framework o everlasting hills. He were one of them chaps as had a gift o sayin' things they rolled off the tip of his clever tongue, same as Mulvaney here, as would ha made a rare good preacher if he had nobbut given his mind to it. I lent him a suit o miner's kit, as almost buried little man, and his white face down coat collar and hat flap looked like the face of a boggart, and he cowered down bottom o the wagon. I was driven a tram as led up a bit of an incline up to cave, where the engine was pumpin', and where ore was brought up and put into wagons, as went down o themselves, me puttin' brake on, and horses attratin after long as it was daylight. We were good friends, but when we got fair into dark, and could nobbut see day shinin' at the hole like a lamp at a street end, I feel downright wicked. Ma religion dropped all away from me when I looked back at him, as were always common between me and Lisa. The talk was that they were to be wed when she got better, and I couldn't get her to say yes or nay to it. he began to sing a hymn in his thin voice, and I came out why a chorus that was all cussin' and swearin' at my horses, and I began to know how I hated him. He was such a little chap too. I could drop him why one hand down Garstang's Copperholia place, where Th Beck slithered o'er Th edge on a rock, and fell why a bit of a whisper into a pit, as no rope I Greenhow could plump. Again Leroyd rooted up the innocent violets. He should see Th bowels o Th earth, and never not else. I could take him a mile or two along Th drift, and leave him why his candle doused to cry hallelujah why none to hear him, and say amen. I was to lead him down Th ladderway to Th drift, where Jesse Rowntree was workin', and why shouldn't he slip on Th ladder why my feet on his fingers till they loosed. Grip and I put him down why my heel, if I went fust down Th ladder, I could click hold on him and chuck him over my head, so as he should go squishin' down the shaft breakin' his bones at every timber in, as Bill Appleton did when he was fresh and hadn't a bone left, when he wrought to Th bottom, neither a blasted leg, to walk from Patley neither an arm, to put round Lisa Rowntree's waist, neither no more never no more. The thick lips curled back over the yellow teeth, and that flushed face was not pretty to look upon. Mulvaney nodded sympathy, and Orthoris, moved by his comrade's passion, brought up the rifle to his shoulder, and searched the hillside for his quarry, muttering ribaldry about a sparrow, a spout, and a thunderstorm. The voice of the watercourse supplied the necessary small talk till Leroyd picked up his story. But it's none so easy to kill a man like yon, when I'd given up my horses to Th lad as took my place, and I was showing Th preacher Th workins shoutin' into his ear across Th clang o Th pumpin' engines. I saw he were afraid o not, and when the lamplight showed his black eyes, I could feel as he was masterin' me again. I were no better nor Blast chained up short, and growlin' I the depths of him, while a strange dog went safe past. Th art a coward, and a fool, I said to Myson, and I wrestled I my mind again him, till when we come to Garstang's copper hole, I laid hold o the preacher, and lifted him up over my head, and held him into the darkest. On it now, lad, I says, it's to be one or t'other on us, thee or me for Lisa Rowntree. Why isn't thee afraid for Thyson? I says, for he was still I my arms as a sack, nay I am, but afraid for thee, my poor lad, as knows not, says he. Set him down on Th edge, and Th Beck run stiller, and there was no more buzzin' in my head like, when THB come through Th window o Jess's house. What dost thou mean, says Roman one, I've often thought as thou ought to know, says he, but 'twas hard to tell thee Lisa Rowntree's for neither on us, nor for nobody o this earth. Dr. Warbottom saysand he knows her and her mother before her that she is in a decline, and she cannot live 6 months longer. He's known it for many a day, steady John, steady, says he, and that weak little man pulled me further back, and set me again him, and talked it all over quiet, and still me turnin' a bunch o' candles in my hand, and counting them o'er and o'er again, as I listened a deal on it with Th regular preachin' talk. But there were a vast lot as made me begin to think, as he were more of a man than I'd ever given him credit for, till I were cut as deep for him as I were for Myson. 6 candles we had, and we crawled and climbed all that day while they lasted, and I said to Myson, Lisa Rowntree hasn't 6 months to live. And when we came into Th daylight again, we were like dead men to look at, and Blast come behind us without so much as waggin' his tail. When I saw Lisa again, she looked at me a minute, and says, who's telled thaw, for I see thaw knows, and she tried to smile as she kissed me, and I fair broke down. Yo see, I was a young chap I them days, and had seen naught o life, let alone death, as is a loser waitin'. She telled me, as Dr. Warbottom said, as Greenhow air was too keen, and they were goin' to Bradford to Jess's brother David as worked I a mill, and I mun hold up like a man and a Christian and shed pray for me well, and they went away, and the preacher that same back end o Th year were appointed to another circuit, as they call it, and I were left alone on Greenhow Hill. I tried hard to stick to Th chapel, but 'tweren't Th same thing at after. I hadn't Lisa's voice to follow Th singin', nor her eyes ashen in across their heads, and Th class meetings, they said, as I mun have some experiences to tell, and I hadn't a word to say for Myson. Blast and me moped a good deal, and happen we didn't behave ourselves over well, for they dropped us, and wondered however they'd come to take us up. I can't tell how we got through Th time. While Th winter, I gave up my job, and went to Bradford. Old Jesse were at Th door o Th house, in a long street o little houses. He'd been sendin' Th children way as were clatterin' their clogs in Th causeway, for she were asleep. Is it thee, he says, but you're not to see her ill none have her wakened for a nout like the she's goin' fast, and she mun go in peace. Thou lt never be good for naught ith world, and as long as thou lives thou'll never play the big fiddle get away lad get away, so he shut the door softly I my face. Nobody never made Jesse my master, but it seemed to me he was about right, and I went away into the town, and knocked up against a recruiting sergeant. The old tales o.th chapel folk came buzzin' into my head. I was to get away, and this were th regular road for the likes o' me. I listed there, and then took th widow's shillin', and had a bunch o' ribbons pinned I my hat. But next day I found my way to David Rountree's door, and Jesse came to open it. Says he, thou's come back again, why th devil's colours flyin' thee true colours, as I always telled thee. But I begged and prayed of him to let me see her nobbut to say goodbye, till a woman calls down th stairway. She says John Leroyd's to come up. Th old man shifts aside in a flash, and lays his hand on my arm quite gentle-like. But thou'lt be quiet, John, says he, for she's rare and weak. Thou was a lose a good lad. Her eyes were all alive wi' light, and her hair was thick on the pillow round her, but her cheeks were thin to frighten a man. That strong nay father yo mayn't say th devil's colours them ribbons is pretty, and she held out her hands for th hat, and she put all straight as a woman will. Why ribbons nay, but what they're pretty, she says, but id ha like to see the eye thy red coat, John, for thou was a lose my own lad, me very own lad, and none else. She lifted up her arms, and they come round my neck. I a gentle grip, and they slacked away, and she seemed fainting. Now yo mun get away, lad, says Jesse, and I picked up my hat, and I came downstairs. Th recruiting sergeant were waitin' for me at th corner public house. You've seen your sweetheart, says he. Yes, I've seen her, says Roman. One well have a quart now, and y'all do your best to forget her, says he. Bane one o' them smart bustlin' chaps. I, sergeant, says Roman. One forget her, and I've been forgettin' her ever since. He threw away the wilted clump of white violets as he spoke. Orthoris suddenly rose to his knees, his rifle at his shoulder, and peered across the valley in the clear afternoon light. His chin cuddled the stock, and there was a twitching of the muscles of the right cheek as he sighted Private Stanley. Orthoris was engaged on his business. A speck of white crawled up the watercourse. See that beggar got IM. 700 yards away, and a full 200 down the hillside, the deserter of the Aurangabadis pitched forward, rolled down a red rock, and lay very still with his face in a clump of blue gentians, while a big raven flapped out of the pine wood to make investigation. That's a clean shot, little man, said Mulvaney. Leroyd thoughtfully watched the smoke clear away happen. There was a last toot up. Why him too, said he. Orthoris did not reply. He was staring across the valley with the smile of the artist who looks on the completed work.